Hello, everyone. I would like to start this international webinar with this special quote that is success usually come to those who are too busy to be looking for it. I do repeat, success usually come to those who are too busy to be looking for it. So starting a new chapter, Abhishek Kumar, being your host, want to extend a very warm welcome and very good evening to all of you present here. And I hope you all are doing amazing. So on the behalf of the whole SEMS family, I welcome you all for this international webinar on the topic hiring trends and employability skills. And to add our guest of honor and our speaker, Miss Ranu Saxena, ma'am. Ma'am, it's a great honor to have you with us, and we are very much thankful for your presence. Now, let me introduce our speaker to you, Miss Ranu Saxena, ma'am. Talking about her education qualification is that she has done bachelor's in science from Maharani College, Jaipur, Rajasthan. After that, she has done a postgraduate from Indian Institute of Management, Tiruchirappalli, in the program name Executive General Management. And right now, she is also a corporate and a soft skill trainer, which is certified from HRCI and CPD Standard Office. Apart from that, she has a session managed with a professional with more than 13 year of experience. Apart from that, she has lead end-to-end training, learning, development cycle management programs. Apart from that, she has also framework and delivered the various outsources learning and development and aptitude training as required in the institution. She has also a framework for the frame the systematic student profiling and delivering them to customize training to them. She has also delivered various workshops, seminar, webinar for the topic like business etiquettes, digital fluency, hiring intent, and pre-placement talk. She has also extended her the placement support in the institution and work as a CRC manager. She has handled a team of a lot of people, and she was also responsible for 100% placement of the institution. Apart from that, in short, we can say that she is a very well professional with excellent relationship building and team handling skills.
Thank you so much, Abhishek. Good evening, everyone. And that was quite an introduction, the exaggerated one, I presume. And I welcome you all for this session. I can see many of my students have already joined, many people from your organization, and apart from that, many people have joined. I'm really thankful that you are actually, devoting your time, as I'm aware that you have examination tomorrow. But I'm also looking forward to the session. Although the introduction has been completely, taken care by Abhishek, and I need not to add something to it. But yes, I'm serving as an like assistant professor for the GNIOT Institute of Management Study GIMS, which is in Greater Noida. And precisely being the trainer, I'm taking care of the learning and development for the institute for my students. Till now, I've already trained like 200 plus, more than 200 plus students from this institute and from other institute as well. So before I proceed forward, I would also like to take an opportunity to thank Digi Saksham SEMS for giving me this opportunity so that I can, initiate this very trending and very crucial topic with all the fresher graduates, all the postgraduates who are actually looking to shape their career ahead, who are about to start their career for for the forthcoming future, and to start their career with one of the good MNCs, for the corporate, with anyone. So the topic which I have kept today is, the hiring trends and the employability skill. The word itself reflects the cruciality of the topic hiring trends, which is ongoing trend in the industry, in the corporate area, whatsoever industry we are talking about. And of course, the employability skills, which are very must, should be there for each one of the student who are the aspiring managers or the aspiring candidate for their future job. So what exactly we are referring here is a hiring trend. So what is there in the mind what we are looking forward to, what we are talking about. We're talking about exactly the preferences of the employers. In market, we have got, plenty of students, plenty of freshers are there. So why a bunch of students will be, are selected in so-called corporate, and why not others? There are certain preferences of the employers which we really need to take into consideration before opting or going further with the process. I'll be covering the important crucial topics here. So let's begin. Before proceeding ahead with the core topic, which is the hiring trends, and later on I'll be covering the employability skills. There are few terminology, or the few jargons were there which were in the industry for quite some time. One of the most important jargon which I have kept into my consideration, and it was uh, there in the air for quite a long time, is the great resignation. Is anybody aware about what exactly the great resignation term is? Do we have someone? Okay. Let me share that with you. That great resignation, which is also referred to as, the big quit, or you can say, the great reshuffle. This was the era during the time of the pandemic. This was, we are talking about the time of like 2021, when the pandemic hit us badly. The great resignation was the complete era. And, we are talking about the en masse resignation of the employees voluntarily. They were not forced to move out. They voluntarily put the resignation, and that too in masses. The reason was, the pandemic was there. So the economy trend, what exactly we are referring here is economic trend in which employees have voluntarily resigned in the masses, which was, in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. That was the era which was referred to as a resignation, the great resignation. Second, resign for the great opportunity. That was not the correct thing. Not exactly for the great opportunity, but yes, the masses were moving voluntarily. They were doing. Yes, of course, Akshat. Remote work opportunity was one of the the prime reason they were working from the home. That's the reason they were moving from one of the corporate, and they were switching to the looking forward to the more work wherein they can actually reside at their home and they can do it, right? So this was one of the main economic trend which industries have followed for quite a long time, the great resignation. Second, if I talk about, is the quiet hiring. Now this is of utmost important for you, right? Reason being, this is in trend, this is going right now in the industry. Every single industry, every single corporate is following this trend of quiet hiring, which is human resource, I mean the human HR people are onto it. Before elaborating quiet hiring, I would also like to bring into notice, there was one term or the jargon which was in the air. It was quiet quitting. Now what was quiet quitting? Before the onset of quiet hiring, there was a trend of like quiet quitting. This quiet quitting, it refers to, the people were deliberately reducing their work efficiency in their organization. They were actually doing that. The point is, why they were doing it? After this great resignation, there was a period of like, the quiet quitting. They were deliberately, they were reducing the work efficiency, they were reducing their the efficiency of the work in a way, and then quiet hiring was followed. Now what exactly we are referring here? Why it should be a concerning thing to us? Why it should be a concerning thing to the students who are actually looking for the placements or actually looking for a future career? Let me give an insight to you. When we are talking about quiet hiring, simply what we are referring to here is the company HR people are reallocating the work, or I should say the reallocating the talented people to other projects instead of hiring, instead of actual hiring. They're reshuffling the people from one project to another, and on the basis of their skill sets and on the basis of their talents. So what exactly happening is the hiring is again freeze. They are not actively hiring, but what they're doing is they're going for the momentarily they're hiring for one or the other task or for the project. This is what we are referring to, and this is of utmost concern for the people who are actively looking for the jobs from here on. Now, let me share the deep insight regarding this. When we're talking about, the quiet hiring, there are three process or three things are there which are actually part of the system. What HR people or the human resource of any corporate is doing, they're taking care, they're reassigning talent. First is the reassigning. What exactly does it mean? Of course, it means that transferring the talent to the other roles or the department, depending upon their skill set, depending upon their talent, and as per the needs of the project. So actually, when there is a need of a resource person, they are not hiring, they are in fact shuffling the talent pool from one project to another. Second thing, which is of most concern, just a second, we have some questions or something here. Okay. Promoting talent. Another one is promoting talent. How promoting talent? They are identifying the employees who are performing well and they want to go beyond their KRAs. That is the key responsibility areas which is allocated to them in the particular project for the particular domain or for the particular job role. So what they are doing is they are tactfully promoting the talent so that they can go to a certain level and they can be accommodated in a particular project instead of hiring, in which a new resource person will be hired. They are promoting the talent and they can actually move on to their to a new place after they've got equipped with the skill set. Third is the most crucial thing is short-term hiring, or we can say in another word, the contractual hiring. So they are not really full-fledged hiring the candidates. On the contrary, what they're doing is they're temporarily filling the staff storage, from the person from the outside, of course, from the outside of the ecosystem. But that is again for a duration of certain time. Now, when we are saying the corporate, when they are in crunch of any of the resources, the normal process it is like the normal hiring. They have the vacancy, they share the vacancy, and then there is the hiring. But the ongoing trend strongly suggests that quiet hiring is indeed trend, in which these three things are, completely in the air in the system. So what we need to focus here is the employability skills that we are carrying. That will be an asset to us and then again to the organization. I believe these three terminology or the two terminology mainly which I have covered during this presentation is pretty clear to you. If there is any confusion or something, definitely I can address it later on during the question answer session. So there is one important part which I wanted to cover is the hiring intent. I'm covering, the hiring trends. There are certain trends which is there in the industries when they are looking for one of the resource person, they're good candidature. So definitely they are looking into something, right? Now, what is then hiring intent? When we refer to hiring intent, we are referring to the thought process of an employer who is likely to recruit you. Now, why they should recruit you? If there are a bunch of students or the bunch of, the candidates are there, why that particular employer should be recruiting you rather than another one? You should be having some of the other, the qualities, the skill sets. There should be something which set you apart from other candidates. And that hiring intent is the part of the employer. So it is basically the measure that represents the percentage of employers likely to hire fresher. Not every organization, not every employer want the fresher. This is the irony of the system, that every person or the every corporate or the every ecosystem want the person who is full-fledged with skill set. He's an experienced person. They don't want to go with the training part with the freshers. They don't want to engage the new open mindset candidates Why? Because the training is involved. The system in which the student or the candidate will be going, he or she might need some time to adapt to an ecosystem, to understand the processes of the organization. Am I correct? Am I making sense? But hiring intent definitely is a cup of tea of the employer, right? So when I talk about this hiring intern, there are certain things which the employers definitely is looking. So we're talking about is the core skills, then comes the associated skills, then comes domain skills, then is the tech skills, and then there is the employability skills. Yes, Shreya, you are also absolutely correct. That is, certain things are there according to which the employer definitely make the decision to whom they want to go. And yes, Atul, you are absolutely correct. Domain skill do have the weightage. So definitely it is there. Let me elaborate you the further things what exactly we are talking about here. So when I'm talking about the core skills. Now, what are the core skills? Everyone has got the skill set. Everybody is talking about the skill set, the skills. There are the soft skills and any other thing. So precisely the core skills are those skill sets, are the critical skill sets that enables a candidate to perform the job role. There are certain specification which has been provided by the corporate, which we call a job description. JD is there. Definitely it is there beforehand. Now that defines the KRAs or the role and responsibility of a person who will be joining the organization and will be performing the duties. So those set of skill sets are mandatory. The person should have to fulfill the duties. And those are referred to as the core skills. Now, if I refer to as the associated skill, the second most important skill set. What are associated skills? Can anybody drop the message? Yes, Saurabh, you have written the core knowledge regarding a particular post. Of course, that is the core skill. And associated skills. Can anybody elaborate that? Associated skills? Okay, communication. Yes, of course, communication. The additional skills, what we are talking about, right? There are core skills which are specified to that particular job role. And apart from that, there are certain skills which are not necessarily mentioned in the job role or the job description, but it has to be there in the candidate. Now, what are those? Those can be, the mostly soft skill, absolutely correctly, mentioned by many of the person in the chat box. And yes, interpersonal skill, absolutely good communication, extra skills which is required to fulfill the particular job role. Very correct. We're talking about the additional skills which can be the soft skill, interpersonal skill, the communication skill, your behavioral aspect. So there are so many other things. Now the third and the most important, I believe that is one of the most important thing, and it is a domain skill. Right now we are so much tech savvy. We are, we want to build a career in the particular area, in particular domain. So the skill set which is specific to the technical domain, it could be the combination of a functional as well as the soft skills. On the contrary, when I say tech skills are basically purely the technological skills which are required in particular domain. So there are two different aspects. One is a domain skill and one is a tech skill. Tech skill is particularly the technological skill for that particular domain. If the person is entering the IT industry and he or she is entering, the Java project, let's say. So the technical skill which will be required here is the Java language. The person cannot evade that, right? He or she has to have that knowledge. When I speak of domain skill, because that person was recruited on the role of, on the position of, let's say, the team lead. So the technical skill plus, the other skill, which is the soft skill, that is the negotiation skill, leadership skill, team building skill, collaborativeness, the soft spoken skill, interpersonal skill, because you have to deal with the client as well, and you have to deal with your team as well. And apart from that, the technical knowledge, that is the knowledge of the Java for that particular project, is mandatory. You cannot skip that part. All right. So the last one is the employability. Now, this is the concerning part for you because it is measured of a candidate to possess the skills and ability to excel in an environment when the ecosystem is given to you, how employable you are, how well defined employee you are, that can be measured. And how it can be measured? The progress you are making in the organization, the consistent performance of yours will be the evaluation parameter for the employability of that particular candidate. So these are few things which definitely unknowingly, you know, and knowingly, of course, the corporate is taken exactly into consideration that okay, the candidate should have, and you should also be taking care into consideration that not just the communication skill, not just the technical skill. Apart from these, there are a set of skills in which you need to work yourself, and then you need to upskill, and then you need to present in front of the corporate person or the interviewer so that you can actually nail it, right? So let's proceed further. And apart from that, see, this is one of the data. It is very interesting. What here I'm talking about is the complete percentage, the industries who are taking higher, who are hiring the freshers, or the percentage of their participation in hiring the freshers as well as in the month of January till June 2023, there was this survey which was driven by World Economic Forum. I'll also share the data and the certain facts which were revealed. So this is one of them. Information technology, telecommunications, e-commerce, and again the startup. They form a category of like 62% of hiring is from these areas or the segment or the industry, you can say. So information technology, all of us, we are aware that it is booming. And again, the most booming or most the dynamic sector, I would say, is the entrepreneurship, startups. Many of us, with the government initiative, with the recent government policies, it is rising like anything. Again, now I'll be starting with one of the very important topic. Before that, let me just check the chat box. And okay, thank you, Hitesh. Of course, the coordination skill. Yes, I've got the so many answers to my question, and all of them seem to be the correct one. Knowledge regarding Saurabh, you are completely correct. And yes, Mr. Garg, task sales, detailed information, absolutely. Each one of you are the brilliant participant and audience to this session. And let me proceed further with one of the very important topic, which is the job roles and the skills which are in demand, specifically for the freshers during 2023. Now, how do I rule out this? How do I elaborate this? There are so many industries, there are so many areas, there are so many specializations wherein actually the person can dive in and look forward to. But there are certain things, there are certain the findings from the economic survey, World Economic Survey has done and published that, which we need to look into. Let me share this. I am sure that it is quite visible to you. Is it? Abhishek, is it visible? Okay, yeah, Saurabh, thanks for the thumbs up. It is visible. Okay, this is, the very latest survey report which was submitted by the World Economic Forum. And as you can clearly see here, that the media, entertainment, sports, government, public sector, they are on the topmost list. Information technology and the communications, again, that is there on the top list. It is booming like anything. There is a list of the complete segregated industries areas, and this is a trend. The percentage shows or reflects the hiring percentage. Okay, the number of vacancies they are sharing. Healthcare and health, again, it is booming. It is booming like anything. This is the data from 2022. After December it was released. And proceeding further, let me share the important thing with you all. I have jotted down from the Economic Forum. I've just gone through the research paper. I've scrolled the reviews by the Harvard Business and many other which they have very recently revealed, and these are the job role trends, the top job roles, if we specifically talk about, which are into the top category. So healthcare, of course, is there. Healthcare recruiter, recruitment is everywhere. And see the irony, when I'm talking about the recruitment talent acquisition partner, these are the job roles which I'm talking. And for each one of them, the recruiter has to be there, right? And again, we are talking about the quiet hiring in the industry, which is going on right now. So, again, we need to make our space. We need to create a platform for ourselves. We need to outshine among others so that, we are hired. And that is what I always say to my students in it doesn't matter how you have performed so far. It does matter during the time of interview, when you're sitting right across the table in front of that interview, how you are performing at that particular moment, how your interview goes in that particular 5 to 10 or 12 minutes. That performance will be the milestone for you if you're actually able to convert that, right? So healthcare recruiter, then come the customer associate, then cloud developer, investment banking again is hitting the list. Cyber security, of course, we are talking about, the all kind of threats which are going on. So there is blockchain, there is, so many things are there. Marketing analyst, marketing always capture the space. This time marketing also a healthcare industry, and then again the requisition, talent acquisition is again the terminology which is flowing through the internet. Business development representative, there is no such task or role or an organization which could survive without the BDs. So definitely it is again there. Then let me proceed further with the domain skills which are hitting the list. First is the DevOps, which development and operations. With specifically, we are talking about the IT terminology here. This is topping the list. The reason is every single organization want to cut short the complete process. They want the process to be limited, and there the picture comes in. The development and operation, it goes hand in hand. How the process is defined in such a way that it is not a long task to perform. It is there. Then comes the corporate finance. Then is the AI. We're talking all about AI nowadays. Then comes the project management, talent resourcing, etc. So this is what I have mentioned here are the one of them which are on the top of the list. If you're scrolling through the research papers or through the recent studies, you may get. But eventually, it is up to you where you are putting your focus, where you're focusing right now, which is your domain skill in which you have to excel, which you have to prepare, right? The third segment of the same is the soft skill trends. As I already, told you, that associated skills also play very, very crucial role. And when I say associated skills, apart from technical and domain skill, these are the most important category. And I want each one of you to actually focus here. Reason being, now the industry trend, it says not only just the technical skill or the domain skill is required in the candidate. They're also looking, if somebody is HR, they're looking for the face. They are they want a face of the company to be the one who has effective communication skill, who can actually speak with the candidate. They have good persuasive skills, they have good negotiation skills, cognitive flexibility. Then comes a continual learning. This is my favorite part. I strongly believe that there is no age for the learning, and the learning should be a continuous process for each one of us, no matter what we are doing and no matter what we are where we are going. There should be a continual learning process. Then comes emotional intelligence. This is again, these all topics, maybe later on during some other sessions I can individually cover, but I just wanted to give you a glimpse that emotional intelligence is definitely the most important area wherein we need to focus. Reason being, how you're handling a situation. EQ does matter, and when the introvert is making the note of your behavior. When introvert is checking how emotionally stable you are when given in a particular situation, how's your behavior, how you're responding to it, right? So these all are the things which industry right now is focusing, because we have already struggled through one of the era of pandemic. Already, by God grace, we are out of it, but still that was a huge learning which came from there. We struggled a lot emotionally. Adaptiveness came into picture again. Those who were actually flexible and were able to adapt into an ecosystem, they survived pretty well. Am I correct? So that is all regarding the skill trends. Now, this is just a picture depiction of the industries which are on the top of the list. So, definitely the technology startup is there. Then comes information technology, telecom, and e commerce, which we have already discussed. There is one very interesting study, because many a times when I'm interacting with the students, many of the students, they want, okay, I don't want to go to the small city, they want to go to the big cities. Okay. Many a time they have there are a bunch of the students who are comfortable around their home or something. So there are broad categories of students who want to actually start their career from one or the other city or the location. Let me share the city trend with you. This is precisely we are talking about in between from January to June 2023. So Bangalore is on the top list. It's an IT hub, everybody knows, of course, right? I was wondering why Pune is not there, but yes, the Bangalore is there with 75% hiring of freshers. The most important thing is they are not just hiring, they are hiring fresher. Second is Mumbai with 56%, and then comes Delhi with 47%. So Delhi is on the third place, and Bangalore, it rules with 75%. There are certain consideration into it, of course, the demographic area, then the industry setup. Everything is there. Yes, Dr. Sanjay Kumar, you wanted to say something? Yes, please.
Ma'am, you're talking about hiring city trend, and you've taken Bangalore, Mumbai, and Delhi,
Yes.
right? Well, what about Hyderabad? What
Okay.
about
Yes, sir. This particular trend, this is the data which has been shared by one of the the firms, and they have thoroughly researched. So these three cities, they top the list.
that means Hyderabad is below Delhi?
Yeah, Hyderabad, of course, is below that. Bangalore is with 75% hiring, and
And Delhi, when we are talking about Delhi NCR, or we are talking about Delhi only.
no, sir. I'm talking precisely about Delhi. There is no NCR, Delhi. So, and the point to be taken into note is that we are talking about hiring the freshers. So, Bangalore is much more receptive in terms of hiring freshers. Again, the second place is for Mumbai, which is with the 56%. And this trend I have already seen. The reason is I am already associated with one of the institute here. So this trend I have already seen. If I talk about Hyderabad, the inclination is towards south. They prefer to hire people from south. This is what I have observed. There is a reason to it, because there is a language barrier, sir. Right? Whenever the person is hired, they have to be accommodated to the demographical area. So language is one of the most concerning part, and that's the reason the freshers are hired mostly for Bangalore, then Mumbai, and then Delhi. I believe I have answered the question for you, sir. All right, let me talk further. And this is the most important part for the students, for any other person who wanted to initiate a journey. So this is what we're talking about is the employability skills. We have already discussed regarding the hiring trends, how the industry is going, what they're looking into, what is the core skills and other. Now I'm talking precisely about the employability skills apart from the technical or the domain specific skill. The first, definitely, as many of the students have said already, it is the communication skill. You cannot skip that part. The communication will be the key to your success. This is what I believe. Reason being, whether you are in an organization, whether you are in anywhere, I mean, if you are studying, your communication play a very crucial role. How you're speaking, there are two different aspects of that, right? Communication doesn't mean just spoken English. But what I meant here is the communication, how you are able to deliver your thought process or idea across the table to the second person. And again, you should be receptive in reciprocation also. So communication skill definitely is a major crucial thing. And you should be a confident communicator when it comes to the corporate, and it is one of the essential parameter the industry or the corporates are looking when they're hiring a candidate. Second is critical and the creative thinking. I've already shared decision making or your actions whenever there is a situation, how excellent you are in developing a solution to that, how you are thinking, how your approach is towards that problem. Because as I've already clearly mentioned here, think out of the box. If you are thinking just like anybody else, how you are different from others, right? If I'm performing well, everybody in my organization is performing well, but what exactly I'm doing a little bit more to elevate my profile, to deliver to my student, that matter. So extra the critical thinking is definitely thinking out of the box, and you should be creative, you should be with open mindset. This is, I firmly believe, critical and creative thinking is one of the major aspect. Then we talk about the very important as I was just going through the chat, the answers which have been thrown in the chat box. Definitely, it is one of the important aspect, and that has been mentioned by a few student, I believe, or few people there. Resilience, how you bounce back from and a different difficult situation, how you're responding to it. Failure is part and parcel of a journey. There's no one who have not tasted the flavor of the failure. But the true leader or the success goes in the bag of a person who is resilient, who bounce back from that difficult situation to continue the journey in a way that defines him. So resilience definitely from the pandemic, those who have bounced back, those who have been engaging that particular time in their upskilling, in their learning, in somehow sustaining that particular situation, those are the winners for me. And resilience, of course, is one of the very essential parameter. All right, I believe there is some question or something. Let me check that. Of course, there are so many skills. Persuasive skill definitely is there. Then the teamwork, leadership skill, absolutely correctly said. Let me share one more important skill with you all, which is endurance and the goal orientation, right? I firmly and I strongly believe until and unless I have a defined goal, right? I have certain focus for me, and that's the reason which I try to drive myself every single moment, every single time, a little closer to that goal. Goal orientation is very much important. Until and unless you have goal in your life, maybe it is the short term goal or the long term goal. Right now we have so many students of mine right here in this session, and they have this particular goal in them, and I always push them towards that goal, which is the placement. I want them to have a good start for their career. But for that, the system or the ecosystem can provide you every single thing. But again, the effort should be yours. The trial should be yours. The persuasiveness should be from your end. And your goal orientation should be in such a way that you are focused by hook or crook, by any means. You will be having that in your hand. So for me, goal orientation, discipline, focus, it is very much of important. Then endurance. Again, the times are gone wherein we were doing like 9 to 5 sort of naukri. There was this time I used to see my father when he comes home, he's going to office by 9 and he's coming back by 5 o'clock or something. Those days are gone, trust me. Every single corporate, if it's an education institute, if it's a banking sector, if it's the healthcare division, if it's an IT sector, trust me when I say this, people are doing beyond their job. They are exerting themselves to prove. So I'm not saying that stretch the working hours, but yes, what I'm asking is, what I'm pushing you is, at least do a little bit more, right? So that, if you're exerting yourself, definitely the goal will be there waiting for you so that you can actually have it. But that push, that challenge you need to throw to yourself. Endurance and goal orientation is the most important thing for any student or for any person who is willingly looking forward to the career or something, whether it is like career or whether it is your personal life. There should be some or the other goal. Then comes positive attitude. Of course, positive attitude is very much important. And how? We are not receptive to others' opinion. There are times wherein we have a different perspective. I may hold a different perspective on something, and on the contrary, my friend or my colleague or my teammate, they're holding a different perspective. My positive attitude should be that there should be an assertiveness. Secondly, I should be receptive. I should acknowledge. I should respect their thought process also. It is not mandatory for me to, okay, give a green signal to that. Okay, whatever you're saying, that is completely correct. But yes, I can very humbly and in a very subtle way, I can have my receptive attitude. Positive attitude towards the situation also does matter. When we are in a difficult situation, we tend to think, almost there are times, because I am also a person and do behave like that. I think negative first, then comes a positive set of things in my mind. This is how we all do. But when we talk about the corporate culture, or the office culture, or professional environment, the positive attitude is very much required. And this is what the people are looking. They're looking with the mindset, okay, those who are open to adapt in the ecosystem, those who have got the positive attitude, those who have got, the resilience. If corporate is in some difficult situation, how many of will quit immediately, and how many will stay back, be there as a support system? So every single thing does matter, and positive attitude for me, definitely it's a go. Then comes turning challenges into motivation. This, I personally believe, it is not mentioned anywhere, but yes, this what I believe. If a challenging situation is thrown to you, why not to take it as a challenge? Why to be in panic state? We can push ourselves harder. We can distribute the task. We can chop it down into chunk of tasks, and then we can initiate the process of completing it. But taking that particular situation as a challenge will definitely motivate you to move further towards your goal. So this is what I believe. Push yourself to learn more, to grow more, to struggle more. And this is how we learn. We learn from our failures. So failure is one of the stepping stones for me, which I've already, I've stumbled upon several times. I failed several times, but that doesn't mean I'll stop pushing myself. If there's something which I need to do, I always prepare myself that, okay, this is a new thing, I should be doing it. Let's learn. All right. Then come again the positive attitude, this team synergy. The coordination between this is everywhere. Team synergy, when we talk about the industry, when we talk about the corporate, when we talk about the classroom, when we talk about a family, team synerginess is very much required. The cohesive environment is very much required. We should be receptive to other point of view. We should be, live in a set of environment wherein we respect each other. And for a person who is there in the professional environment, if he or she is leading the team, there are 4 people. 2 people may have a different perspective, and other 2, that may lead to a conflict situation. For that particular team leader to maintain that team synergy, that cohesiveness, that collaboration, that understanding within the team is very much required. And I assure you from my experience, whenever the person walks in for an interview, to take the interview of the students or the fresher or the experienced one, there is an HR round, and they ensure that the critical thinking, the behavior of that person, so-called candidate, or whether he is adaptive to an ecosystem, whether he is a person who can actually build cohesiveness, right? Nobody wants to hire a person who will sit like, a second person to the team. And the system works like that. So we have to be cohesive. You should be able to deliver that in our behavior. So that is what I believe. Then comes tech infused brilliance. Of course, we have to be updated with the technology. We have to. This is a need of an hour. It is not something that it used to be. If you don't know, that is okay. No, it is not okay at all. We have to deal with the technology. We have to be well versed with that so that we can embrace that in the system. We can actually follow that. Then comes self management. This is the last pointer which I really wanted to put forward to everyone, that self management, self learning, self upskilling, there has to be this spark within each one of you, which is not driven by the push, which is driven by yourself. If you have some goal, you have to upskill yourself. You have to brush up with the technology which is running in the system. You have to self manage yourself in every possible way to survive. And with this, I would like to open the forum for the question answer. If you've got any questions or answers, I would be addressing your questions, of course. Abhishek, I received the entire audience was so engaging. I've got a
Yeah.
bunch of things there in the chat box, so I was reading now
Yeah.
and then, so that if there are any questions, I could actually respond. Dr. Sanjay did ask me any questions to address, please.
Ma'am, actually, I have get one question from one of our YouTube audience.
Yeah, please.
Ma'am, he is asking that can you let me know the list of the challenges that are facing to get a job nowadays?
Okay. Definitely, I can share the list of the challenges. There are
Mm-hmm.
many challenges. First is there is a process. You have to go through a process to get a job, and what that process is, the company will either initiate the GD group discussions. They will be if you're talking about the institute or the education, if you're a fresher, if that person is a fresher, my answer is somewhat like this. There is a process which you need to follow and clear, which is the aptitude. Then comes the psychometric test is there. Then comes the
Yeah.
group discussion or the extempore, wherein the corporate people judge your communication skill, your critical thinking, your thought process. And then, which is followed by further selection, it is followed by the personal interview round, which is completely a drilling session for any candidate.
Yeah.
You have to answer n number of scenarios of questions, which can be associated with the subject knowledge, domain knowledge, technical knowledge. And apart from that, simultaneously, they're judging your communication skill, your behavior, your approach, your thought process.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
last is the HR. So there are constraints. It is not something that if you are a 90% holder, that doesn't justify that you will get the job. No, it won't.
No, I don't. Yeah.
The alone subject knowledge is also not sufficient. It is the complete package they want. So there are certain things which you need to keep into the consideration before proceeding ahead for the process.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Uh, Ma'am, the next question which is asked by one of the YouTube or audiences, how does communication play important role to get someone promotion? Yeah.
Okay, for promotion, of course, the communication is the first ladder or the first step, I would say. Why so? Because see, if you are already in an ecosystem, if you are already serving an industry or the company, and you are serving to one of the designation wherein you are actually interacting with the higher management as well as with the lower management and your subordinates and with your colleagues. So the person who is able to deliver the thought process or the requisition from the your client in exact way to your team and is able to deliver the outcome, definitely he will be on the top shot. On the contrary, if the person is not really able to communicate properly, so imagine a situation, the client has said something and the person is communicating the other thing. So the project is going haywire. The communication does play an important role. Negotiation, persuasiveness, the effective communication, the effective message which you want to deliver to your team or to the higher management. What you're thinking is a different thing. But what you are thinking and then you are framing the sentence and which is coming out of your mouth in form of communication is entirely a different story.
Yeah.
The good communicator think and say well. So if you're having a hard time, then definitely, you're in big problem.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, one of the last question which is asked by them is that how does our teamwork play an important role in the office?
Teamwork certainly plays an important role. As I've already, covered certain topics here, the cohesiveness, team synergy,
Hmm.
teamwork does play. There is one very famous saying, "Akela chana bhi bahar nahi phod sakta." Correct or not?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
So, if you're working alone, that category of the designation maybe you can achieve after 15, 16 years. Then you can achieve that category of the global leader who is managing, the offshores or the APAC region or the Australia region or something. Then you are the sole leader. That too is dependent upon the role which has been assigned to you. If I'm talking about if the quality person is there, maybe he's working independently.
Yeah.
You don't need the team, right? But when you are in very very fresh years of your career or down the line after 10 year also, when you are leading the team,
Yeah.
you don't want your project or revenue to go like haywire just because of the team conflict. Am I clear?
Yeah,
If
yes,
you
ma'am.
make the presentation in a group, you want everyone to be a part of that because the points are divided. Each one effort does count to the profit or to the victory of that particular task. So team cohesiveness, team synergy, team work is very, very important.
Yes, ma'am. So I hope, ma'am, all our questions has been answered. And thank you, ma'am, and thank you guys for
Abhishek,
this.
thank you so much. I would really love to thanks to the wonderful audience I've got today.
Yeah,
All each one of them have been very good and
yeah.
supportive and interactive in some or the other way. Saurabh, many congratulations. You have bagged the certificate here. And Ghanshyam sir, I'm very, very grateful for being an engaging audience for me. Abhishek, my heartfelt thanks to you because you approached me and I'm very glad to be part of this session. I'm looking forward to much more in the future.